Whenever we talk about the world of addiction and we don't bring in the world of mental health, we're totally missing the boat. Hey, I'm David Essel. As a matter of fact, this is Mental Health Awareness Month, but let me tell you something. It's disappointing to me that we have a month of it. It really should be 12 months here. Every month should be a mental health awareness month, and I hope maybe at some time in the future we can make that happen. People get all excited and we do all these videos and all these articles on mental health awareness during the month of May, and then what happens? Well, we need to get serious with this because in the world of addiction, addictions are rising faster than anyone could ever believe. They all have one foundation in common: a mental health issue, a mental health challenge, a mental health disorder. We know this to be true. In our brand new book where we talk about permanent alcohol recovery, we do all of the research out there that has to say that we are not genetically programmed for addiction. It comes from our inability to deal with emotions. Isn't that crazy? I can tell you from personal experience after struggling for 30 years to come out of it and find out that the reason I was using alcohol and cocaine as regularly as I did was because I was trying to self-medicate. I was self-medicating depression, anxiety, ADD, ADHD. Maybe you're in the same situation. If you are, comment below or share these videos. You know, when we get into this mindset discussion that addictions are caused by our genetics, we're screwed. Because then what is it? Then we say, well, I throw my hands up in the air. I don't have any control over this. The reason I'm using cocaine or food or alcohol or whatever it might be is because I have a genetic predisposition towards it. So it's out of my hands. Now, there is a genetic predisposition towards one addiction, alcoholism, but it can only be enacted if you consume alcohol. And so that's why we say, what's underneath the addiction? What's underneath? Right now, we've talked about this in other videos, the NBA is coming out with great public service announcements. These professional athletes talking about how they're struggling, right, with mental health issues, which is phenomenal. When we look at the world of addiction, it's the same thing. Peer pressure, which is another word for low self-confidence and low self-esteem, which is a mental health issue. Trauma that's been unhealed. Grief that's not been healed. These are mental health issues that come out in the form of addiction. And it makes total sense, doesn't it? I mean, when you're in active addiction, it doesn't matter if it's a porn addiction, spending addiction, if it's alcohol, pot, nicotine, it doesn't matter what the addiction is. You're brought out of reality for a short period of time. That's the whole purpose of addiction, to get us out of our current reality, to get us into a space that feels much better. And they work for a short period of time. But then you have to use again in order to feel better. Instead, we need to go to the core, the origin. Join me, won't you? TalkDavid.com, DavidEssel.com. Start spreading these messages. If we can get more people to understand that underneath the addiction, no matter what the addiction is, if it's a substance, it's a thought addiction, a behavioral addiction, a relationship addiction, underneath that is a mental health issue. Anxiety, depression, PTSD. I talked about unhealed wounds. I mean, there's so many different mental health issues underneath it. A grief that has not been dealt with. A lot of individuals, when I start doing grief work with them, they're hitting alcohol really hard. Loss of a loved one, and I totally get it. I mean, I really understand it. But that alcoholism that's been ramped up because of the loss of a loved one, or maybe someone just starts drinking heavily over the loss of a loved one, is a mental health issue. We're not dealing with grief in all the beautiful ways we know how to deal with grief. Same thing with depression, same thing with anxiety, same thing with ADD, ADHD. Come on, let's get on the right bandwagon here. We'll talk about it right now during the month of May, but I really want this to be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's when we're going to get somewhere. When we start to keep these messages coming out in the media on a regular, daily, weekly basis, we can start to curb the mental health challenges. We can start to diminish them, which will then diminish the world of addiction. And that's good news with David Essel.